First things first, I want to ask in here and let me know in the chat, and I'm gonna have my, I'm actually gonna hop in from here as well. Let me know in the chat whom amongst all of us in here are either in a relationship or or are single and ready to mingle. Because I want to know who I'm dealing with. Are you in a relationship or are you single and ready to mingle? Nice communication style. Communication style makes a huge difference, and it's not about what you say, it's about what? How you say it. It's not about that you are hearing me, it's about how you are paying attention to what I am saying. So that makes a difference. So let's talk about communication style because men and women specifically, and look, respectfully to everybody in here, I'm going to talk about a man and a woman in a relationship because that's my core values. So if I'm not talking about any other whatever options that the world has out there, unfortunately, that's not my area of expertise. I know one thing: a man and a woman, how to rock a life together. So here we go. Communication style. Is your communication style either passive? Is it assertive? Is it passive aggressive? Is it aggressive? What is your communication style? Now, I know what the world is going to ask. Well, Ali, what's the difference between the communication? And why are we highlighting that? Because communication is not just what you are saying, is how you're saying it. 80% of communication is what? Nonverbal. You got that right. So if communication itself, and by the way, all communication is community or communication unity. You're uniting yourself with a way of communicating. So let's talk about it. Passive communication means not expressing your needs or feelings to avoid conflicts. Man, I can't even tell you how much I hate that. Like when it comes to men and women in general, women have the tendency. I'll speak about my wife. How about that? Yeah, my wife, right? So my wife and I, my wife will say something like, "Are you hungry?" And I'll be like, "Nah, I'm good." And then she's got this little whatever. And I'm like, oh, she wasn't asking for me to have food. What she was doing is she wanted me to know and ask if she was hungry because she was most likely the one that is hungry, but wanted me to ask her if she wanted to eat, therefore eat together. But I couldn't put one on one together because I did not understand her style of communication, right? And that's not, I'm giving you a very light version of the actual example of communication itself, right? But in some cases, there are couples who do not talk about what they desire, who do not communicate to their significant other about their dreams or ambitions or careers or jobs that they want to have or books they want to write or bucket lists that they have or even intimacy needs that they have. Hey, here's what I want. Here's how often I want it. Here's what I want to do. Here's why I want to do it. Where I want. Like none of that is getting communicated, and it creates this gap. And the gap itself yields for me getting frustrated. Why are you never happy with me? You're not saying anything. I can see because 80% of communication is what? Nonverbal. So it is important for you to understand that your communication may be passive and you're not communicating your desires and your needs, and you're doing a disservice to not only yourself, but your significant other. Here's the second level of communication: aggressive. Now, I think that's very self explanatory. It involves expressing needs forcefully, even often being disrespectful in the process without even realizing that we are being disrespectful in the process. Something like, come on, can somebody get a bite here? Now, you may think I'm working all day, I'm providing for my family, I'm taking care of my kids, etc., etc., etc. And the idea of, man, all I need is a bite and I'll be extremely happy. But again, it's not what you said, it's just how you said it. And by the way, that's men and or women can be aggressive in the way they talk. And that is a very, very, very borderline narcissistic behavior that would lead ultimately to one of you to explode. Because one of you may be the patient one. All right, I'm going to take my time with this. All right, no problem. He may be having a bad moment. She may be just having a bad day. And it builds up and it builds up because you are a human being as much as I am. And I know I am the most patient human being that you will ever have. But I too have had episodes in my 20 plus years with my life where one wrong day, one little boof, explode. Are you kidding me? All I do, and I go into my negative rants that I accumulated for 3 months in a row for that 5 minutes that I feel better that I got it in my chest, but then I was so mean and disrespectful and rude and aggressive, etc., etc., etc. Yes, I am a human being and I have those flaws as well, right? So be careful about the way you are communicating, that it is not aggressive. And how do you know? You can literally feel emotions, energy in motion. Are you angry? Are you unhappy? Are you sad? Do you find yourself doing God? Good. That's on you. You are mad. Nobody made you mad. You are angry. Nobody made you angry. It's the fact that you did not communicate your need, passive, and or you are disrespectfully offending your significant other, aggressive communication. So there is a need to work from both parties on one communicating and the other slowing down, chilling out, right? Calming down a little bit. Then there's passive aggressive. We hear that a lot, right? Passive aggressive communication indirectly expresses negative feelings, avoiding direct confrontation. Ooh, that's the one right here, by the way. That's the real pandemic. That's the virus right there. It's the whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you know, and I know that very, very well, right? Like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like those subtle, those little comments, whether he and or she, in their own ways, have that. I mean, am I the only one who has experienced and or has been an offender when it comes to passive aggressive communication? And it's not just from intimate relationships or significant others. We feel it the most with other people around us all the time, right? It could be a boss, it could be a business partner, it could be a colleague, or whatever the case may be, and we hate it. Now, the problem is we are so comfortable with our significant other that we have the tendency to not identify it and or address it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you may be the one who has the passive aggressive behavior toward your significant other and you justify it as in, I just don't want to start a problem. No, you already started a problem the moment you inserted a seed of negativity in that communication. See, I would much rather sit down and let's talk about it. Hey, it's going to be annoying to you as much as it is to me, but I want to nip it in the bud, man. I want to love you and get along with you. So can we talk about it? Can you release that, right? It's all right. You can be mad for a minute, but let's move on with our lives and figure out the solution. So passive aggressive is probably 80% of the problems that we have in relationships because we tend to just subtly throw shade, as we say in urban culture. You're throwing shade at your significant other and you leaving them in this moment of, man, did she just disrespect me? Or did he just say something that he just said to me right now? And it could be in the form of dropping a plate in an aggressive way. Here, eat, right? Or something in the lines of, well, you don't have to thank me, but I already put gas in the car and washed the car, so you're welcome because I do nothing in the house, right? See, those are, again, the little subtle things that you're planting one seed at a time of a bigger bomb that will ultimately happen. So, the last piece, which is the solution, because if you know Ali Madawi, I'm all about solutions, right? So here's the solution. Assertive communication is the answer. And what does it involve? It involves expressing needs and feelings openly while respecting others. Now, I know it sounds easier said than done. We are humans and we get frustrated. Remember what I told you from the very beginning. I don't have a perfect relationship with my wife, but what I do perfectly well is it'll take us 5 minutes to get over certain things that most people will take a week to get over. It doesn't matter how bad or how big it is. We figured it out. It takes us 5 minutes, right back at it. 5 minutes, right back at it. And it may take a little bit of work, a little bit of time of communication on your end. So here's my question to you, and entertain me, please, please, on the chat. I got the screen right in front of me so I can look. Entertain me in the chat. And be honest. Look, this is a judgment-free zone. This is for you to be the superhero for him or the superhero for her in the next 2 days, right? Like Valentine's Day is right around the corner, but it's not about a holiday. It's about a start to an amazing journey. So you two can brag about being high school sweethearts, or you can brag about 20, 30, 40 years of marriage, and you're still loving and caring about one another. You're still enjoying each other's company. How many of us know couples that can't stand each other? Couples that we physically, visibly see that they're abusing one another, right? I don't want to be that. I want to get along and enjoy the woman that I'm by my side and I'm by her side every single day. So, which style are you, or have you identified that you have certain traits of based on what we just talked about right now? Do you find yourself being more of a passive communicator where you just avoid dealing with it just so it does not form or morph into an argument? Are you aggressive? Do you actually say what you mean and mean what you say? And it may come across a little bit on I'm snapping, right? Snapping is not an excuse. It's just you being aggressive, right? How about passive aggressive, throwing shade, saying those little subtle negative things that morph into something bigger, crazier? All you do is you play on your phone all day. You kidding me? I'm prospecting right now. And you're telling me like things like that. Or are you an assertive communicator? Which style are you? Please let me know in the chat so we can move into the next piece. Aggressive and working on it. Awesome. Congratulations. That will absolutely give you the ability to identify and understand what do I got to work on? What do I got to change? All right. So the very first thing we talked about.
Looking to get your story heard? At the ME Studios, we amplify your message with press releases in up to 300 primetime media outlets. Our comprehensive service ensures your content reaches the right audience, driving engagement and results. Elevate your brand with the ME Studios press release service. Visit themestudios.net today.
Communication. All right. You got that there? Communication. I write like a doctor. Let's go into the next phase. So now that we talked about communication, let's talk about listening. Woo! I am the guy who cannot do two things at once. Like if I am in the computer, my wife could say there's a fire around and we need to get out and the car is exploding. And just give me 1 second. You relate to that? Are you the Are you the person who's just saying, yep, I get it in here? Okay. So there are different types of showcasing that you're listening. So one of the things that is extremely important in a relationship now, whether it's intimate or even in general relationship, is active listening. See, active listening is about showcasing that you are understanding and not just waiting to answer or to respond. I had to work on that so many times. I'm terrible at that. I'll be like this. The moment you start speaking, I already know. It's like a lawyer ready to fire back. I already know how I'm going to get you back. Now, boom. However, but, and, even though, however, and I'm ready to go and fire it up. And all that does, just so you know, when you're ready to go all the time, it just creates this sense of emotional volcano that is building up slowly, where the other person is going to end up, again, human being, reacting of like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Here's the passive aggressive. And now you get upset. Like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? I just told you and I just showed you. And it just leads into this whole irrelevant thing. Because at the end of the day, do you remember what you argued about last month? That's right. Nobody does. We just waste energy on a moment that we know for a fact will not be relevant anymore. See, I got into a bender fender last week. I'm Highway 287 in New Jersey, early in the morning, head into a wake service. And then out of nowhere, I hear the Range Rover guy hit. Oh my God. Now, I went back home. My wife told me the night before, I love you, babe, but this is all real. The night before, hey, it's going to be slushy, it's going to be rainy, it's going to be crazy. I don't think it's a good idea for you to drive early in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning while it's dark in a snow blizzard. Oh, no, I got an all-wheel drive. I'll be fine. I want to be there in the wake. I want to do this. I'm giving this whole justification. Well, what do you think the first thing that hit my head when I got hit? Oh, I don't even want to tell her, because guess what I'm going to get? I told you. How many of us, hey, D, I told you. We don't like it. So I came back home. And then, I don't say anything on the whole way. And then I'm like, hey, by the way, she goes like, I know you weren't there. I'm like, what's up? She goes like, I saw you were stopped for, like, I was wondering like what was happening, like what's going on. And then I told her I got hit. And guess what she said? I told you. I was like, man. Now, we had a moment where she was frustrated that I went against her advice, and she knew, as in she felt, as in she manifested what was going to happen. And here's what I said: I could have died, but I'm here. Scratches on the car is replaceable. She immediately gave me a hug. I love you. And we just went downstairs, have breakfast with the kids, and life goes on. Life moves on, right? So, what I'm trying to tell you is, she and I have perfected the idea. We're not great at it, but we perfected the idea of reading each other. Are you listening to me? One of the things that she tells me every single time: hey, you're not listening. I'm like, I'm sitting right here. I'm listening to you. I'm talking to you. Like, no, you're not even looking at me. My daughter, our daughter, who's not even 4.5 yet, if I'm sitting next to her and I'm in my phone, whether I'm prospecting or I'm answering emails or I'm just scrolling or whatever, she says, Papa, you're not listening. I'm like, I am, sweetheart. She's playing with the little guitar. Papa, you're not listening. What she's telling me is, you're not actively listening. You're not looking at me. My son, who loves to play his video games, Papa, you're not with me. I am. Yeah, but you're not watching. That's what he's telling me. Like, you're not actively listening. So it does make a difference. So making sure that you are actively listening starts with physical interaction, right? I know myself. I avoid that. If I, like, in a very, very bad, ugly side of me, I will avoid you. I'm like, I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret. So I'd rather just walk away quietly or something, right? So when it comes to it, I have to force myself, like, hey, just before I respond, can you explain what you mean by that? Can you clarify what you mean by that? Again, it's just a matter of asking, hey, if I'm understanding you right, you're saying that you did not like the fact that I left the dishes in the sink last night, and you did not like the fact that I only left the bag outside the door of the garbage bag outside the door instead of taking it all the way to the garbage can, right? Yes, got you. I will do my very best to work on it from now on. See, that just yes moment diffuses a whole fight and a whole argument. So here's my question to you: would you take my challenge today, or if it's too late for you, tomorrow? And here's the what I want you to write down. Tell him or tell her, depending if you're a man or a woman. Tell your significant other a story and have them repeat that story in details to you, and be creative about it. Smoothie Kings, strawberry. It was sunny and the light was green. There were birds flying, etc., etc., etc. And just see if there is an active listening process. And here's how do you know? They don't have to remember all the details. But if they ask questions, hey, what color did you say? And where were the birds? And what color was the lights, etc., etc., etc. It's a great practice and fun practice that will teach each other how to communicate in the case that there is a serious matter to be discussed and requires active listening, especially if you're an active online entrepreneur like myself, who's always in a phone or a laptop, in this case, in his hand, right? All right. Are we good with that? Can we take on that practice? Can we take on that challenge and teach one another what active listening is? Active listening requires asking questions of clarifications and emphasis on, hey, just want to make sure you said that. Hey, I just want to understand you better. You felt like this, right? And so on and so forth. All right. Thank you, Nina, for letting me know. Mostly aggressive, but sometimes aggressive if the other person becomes defensive. I'm so glad you said that, because I'm going to tell you exactly what jitters us, what gets us going to defensive mode, whether you are a man and or a woman herself. All right. So number 2, we talked about listen. Yeah, I spelled it right. Listening. So communication 1, listening 2. Let's go into 3. Talk it out. Let me tell you what I mean. How do you resolve misunderstanding? When me and you have a disagreement, right? You're saying as a 6, I'm saying as a 9. We both may be saying the truth based on our vantage point, but there is a little gap that's creating the passionate, insistent, argumentative phase of who we are, right? So you have to ask a question, and again, I'm really good at this. Sometimes it does not make my wife very happy. I am the coat. I got you. Let's just move on. No, but I want to know why you left the dishes in the sink. Because I was busy with the Zoom and I just forgot to put them in the dishwasher. All right, well, I don't like that. I got you. I will make sure that I don't do it again. Yeah, but you said that last time. All right, listen, we can talk about it right now, or I promise I can put it in the dishwasher. No, I already got it. Like, so the question comes down to like, why are we arguing about this? Like, what's the actual issue? It may be the fact that I say I'm going to do something that I never actually do, and it repeats itself again and again and again and again and again, right? All right, cool. So I got to figure out what is the mechanism that I have to do. Put the thing right away in the dish, right? Like, don't just put it in there and walk away while you're on the phone. Don't eat. Like, got to figure out a different system, right? Same thing goes for laundry. Same thing goes for staying up late. Same thing goes for drinking. Some people have a drinking habit where they drink every single night, and it may be annoying to their significant other, right? Whether it is the alcohol breath, whether it is snoring, whether it is not being healthy, whatever it may be. No offense to anybody who drinks every single night. All right. Number 2 of talking things out, expressing appreciation. Let me take a minute on this. Let's just call it for what it is. How many of us like to feel appreciated? The reality is a simple act of appreciation for what the other person is doing is like refueling the tank of that person's tolerance for your shenanigans. Dr. Stan, 100%, 100 for me, 8 for Nadia. Me and you are the same, doc. So the reason I'm letting you this, it will literally refill the tank. How many of you see a note to my wife that I post as much as I can? Usually the weekend, I don't touch my phone on Sunday specifically, but during the week, a note to my wife goes up, right? Something just small, but something to let her know that I appreciate her, right? Hey, I got this. I appreciate you. You're a great mother. And that's not just a facade. That's no Chat GPT. That's really genuinely, truly me. And I write that just to start early in the morning. That's the first thing I do when I grab my phone. A note to my wife. I want her to know I'm starting the day with appreciating you. And it just starts with my tank of her tolerating my annoying stuff. Ding, full tank. So by the time we get to 8 o'clock, I had just enough for her to still tolerate and get along with me just fine. To let certain things, the little stuff slide. To not argue about whatever needs to be argued about, right? So you need to showcase appreciation to your significant other in order for you not to have those crazy shenanigans, because 99% of the problems that we are arguing about are not because of the problems that we are arguing about. It's what has led to us get into those problems. It's the things that we don't do every single day for one another, or the things that we don't say to one another, or the things that we actually do and or say if we are on the aggressive side of the equation, right? So it's very, very important for you to express appreciation. How about planning something together without arguing? Man, I love you, my wife, but asking my wife what she wants to eat is like saying, can you solve 165 divided by 9 times 2 to the 10th power and go? It's like, I don't know. What do you want? Well, I eat everything. What are you in the mood for? I'm not sure. Okay, pizza? No. Italian? No. French? No. Salad? No. Okay, so clearly you have a preference because you said no 4 times. What do you want? I'm not sure. Can you relate? Can anybody relate? Okay, I'm not taking a dig at my wife, but I had to learn based on what my wife likes or don't like. What the brain is saying, you should love me enough to know exactly what I prefer. Now, some people be like, man, you are out of here. You're crazy. That's my secret of happiness. That does not mean that it's going to be the same thing with your significant other, because there are different people who operate different ways. But I do know one thing. I had to learn my wife, her ways, her needs, her lack thereof, by having those conversations, right? The open, let's talk about it. What do you like? What do you not like? And I'm going to tell you, I'm the talkative one in the family and in our relationship. My wife talks 10% of the day. I am 200% of the day. I'm still talking right now. When I get home, I'm probably going to do this whole seminar all over again with my wife. Not that it's something bad, but because I take it so personally to know what makes that woman smile. It is my duty every single day to put a smile on her face. It kills me. I'd rather lose an arm than not see that woman smile. I know it's crazy, right? It's aggressive, right? It's insane. Yes, that's how much she means to me. See, that's not because she's in here in the Zoom right now. That's just the way it is. And if you take some of these steps that I'm sharing with you right now, I promise you, you're going to have some of these emotions that you are seeing between me and my little mama over here. All right. How about this? Here's the action step that I want you to take on this one. I hope you're taking notes on this. Practice active listening and assertive communication. So active listening and assertive communication by doing just a few things that I just shared with you. So we talked about communication, we talked about listening, and we talked about you got to talk it out. You can't just walk away and stay busy. There are some guys and women who would rather stay away from each other's spaces instead of talking about it, whatever it may be. I'm telling you right now, that is a recipe for a disaster. That is a recipe for issues and challenges and arguments and fights. And guess who's watching, especially if you have children? Your children are learning from what they're seeing. Okay, so the way to avoid conflict is to totally disappear from my significant other's life. And the next generation, you wonder, man, my children are not having a healthy relationship. They're breaking up left and right. Insecurities, they're chasing after women or they're chasing after another guy, etc., etc. What do you think that is? They learn from us. So it's important to have a responsibility inside the home to do this if we want our children to grow up with a better situation. So talk it out. All right. Are you not entertained? Is this helping somebody? Let me know, please. Is this good? Send notes to my wife, just not publicly. I love it. Awesome, awesome. All right, Roger. Let's go to number 4. Oh, you ready? Man, we're getting into it right now. I versus you. What does that mean? See, how does it feel when your significant other says, you never do this and you never do that? Or you always do this and you always say that. The generalization, right? The assumption that you automatically are the bad one. We talked earlier about the defensiveness, right? See, when you talk with the you, the blame, right? First of all, when you blame somebody, there's one finger blaming, 3 blaming right back at you. What does that do? It creates a sense of defensiveness because no matter how perfect a person is, the natural reaction, the chemicals that are coming out of my brain are saying like, wait, what? What did I do? Just the automatic, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings or I didn't mean to offend you. And in this sense of the moment, I'm going to say something that no matter how you put it out, no, I don't do that. Immediately, I'm fighting with you. I'm arguing with you. You said you're going right. I'm saying I'm going left. No matter how right you are, the moment you say you always do or you never do, that generalization is automatically creating that behavior that makes me react as in, I'm going to fight my way against this argument so I can prove that I'm not the person that you're claiming for me to be. I'm not the offensive person. I'm not a bad person. I might have done something wrong, but I'm not a bad person. And in the midst of me trying to tell you that I'm not a bad person, what do you think is happening? An argument. Because I'm telling you, I'm not a bad person. What you're telling me, significant other, that you are doing a bad thing and the argument is right and left, totally out of alignment. But I'm not a bad person, but you are doing the wrong thing. And we are thinking because we're not listening to one another and we're not talking it out and not having the proper level of communication. It's like I'm speaking French and you're speaking Spanish, and we're thinking that we are understanding each other, but we're not. So stop saying you always and or you never. I despise that mindset. Oh my goodness. Every time I hear you never or you always, it automatically triggers me. My wife will tell you. I'm like, really? Never? Always? And we have to figure out like, no, well, you know what I mean. I don't. Can you clarify? In the midst of that feeling, it immediately creates a little sense of, can you please have an active listening? And can you please have an assertive communication with me right now? In the angry moment. That's what I'm telling you. We shrink those arguments from a long time to a small time. And I'm telling you, like, again, I can't say this enough. I'm flawed. I'm a sinful man, and I do a lot of bad things, right? But I love my relationship with my wife, and I love how we can pick back where we were right before. So here's the solution. Instead of saying you never or you always.
Want to take your content from zero to hero? Step into the ME Studios. Located in Eatontown, New Jersey, the ME Studios is your all-in-one content creation destination. From podcast recording and social media content to professional editing and live streaming, we've got you covered. Imagine this. You walk into our state-of-the-art facility, greeted by a team of experts ready to bring your vision to life. Whether you're recording your next podcast episode or filming a high-quality reel, you'll find everything you need under one roof. But don't just take our word for it. Listen to our clients. The ME Studios helped me scale my podcast. Their professional content production elevated my social media presence. Get an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the energy and creativity that make the ME Studios unique. From planning to distribution, we're here every step of the way to ensure your success. Ready for a special offer? Book a marketing campaign with us and you could win an all-inclusive vacation. It's our way of saying thank you for choosing the ME Studios. So what are you waiting for? Visit themestudios.net to book your next content session today.
I would advise you at least. Use these words, right? I feel, fill in whatever adjective, right? Happy, sad, angry, prideful, joyful. You fill in whatever you're feeling, right? I feel, fill in the blank, when you do, or when you say, or when you, whatever that may be. So when we. I feel happy when we work together. I feel sad when we don't talk often. I feel good when we. See, when you use I feel blank, when we blank, it changes the conversation. It becomes a collaborative issue that we both are looking for a solution to. I feel joyful when my wife and I work together every single day. I feel so excited about the fact that we are sitting right next to each other in front of our computers every single day. I feel excited that we get to cherish each other's company till death do us apart. I feel amazing when we are raising our kids together with godly values. Now imagine if that weren't the case. It would be like, look, I feel sad when we're not together. I feel unhappy when we're not speaking. I feel miserable when we're not eating lunch and dinner together. Like those things change the conversation instead of saying, you never spend time with me. You always are on your phone. You always are working. See, the narrative changes when you change I feel blank when we do or when we don't do. It becomes a collaborative. All right. So here's the call to action in this one. Practice turning common conflicts, whatever they may be, instead of you, that's the blame, to I feel blank when we, whether when we talk or don't talk, when we do laundry in time, when we take out the garbage on the right day, when we don't click like on the wrong pictures on Instagram. I'm going to get into that in just a little bit, right? So it's very, very important. So number 4, the I versus we. Versus you. So I feel versus you do wrong. All right, you ready for the next one? By the way, am I the only one who really, really do not like it when we have the you always and you never? I mean, do you hear those arguments sometimes and you don't even realize that we're going the wrong path until you find yourself in the wrong path? I do not like it at all when we start saying that, man, you always do and you never are. And look, I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. But the level of awareness, remember, it's not chasing perfection, is creating awareness, is to catch yourself like, I know what we just did right now. I know what I just said wrong right now. And the more awareness that you have, the more alignment in your core values and your communication skills that you are shrinking those annoying little tiny moments. All right. I am guilty, but have been working on it. Let's go, man. I love it. Our words matter. Yes, Nina, you are not lying, sis. All right, here we go. Next, number 5, the empathy connection. What does that mean? Empathy connection. So this is where you share your true frustrations while the others show true empathy. You notice how I had the word true in there? So you have to share your true frustrations, not the facade, not the I'm just not happy because I'm never doing what I like to do. No, what is it that you like to do? Look, I'm not happy because all I'm doing is working and I never have time to just hang out with you and talk about life or have a date night or, like I want to get it on. Like it's Thursday night. It's been a while. Like communicate openly, say the real truth of your frustration, God willing, using these active communication, listening, talk it out, I versus you skills that I'm sharing with you right now, and you will have a true sense of empathy. I tell my wife many times, look, I feel this type of way when you do these certain things with me, and it makes me happy. Or, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's probably my insecurities since I was a child, but when we are trying to do certain things and I see you doing certain other things, like it really makes me feel like I'm less than. It does not give me the validity that I'm the one. Sometimes I just don't feel like I'm the hottest thing in the room for you. Like I'm not the eye candy that you would want to have. Like those conversations, I promise you, guys, specifically you gotta communicate. Man, screw the macho man stuff. Like you gotta get that out of the window. Like when you're with your significant other, at the end of the day, it's just you and her. So you gotta be vulnerable and communicate because a woman communicates differently than a man. And we're gonna talk about that in just a little bit as well. So you wanna make sure that you communicate and share your true frustrations, not the facade, not the nothing, don't worry about it, you don't care anyways. No, 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 no. Get that stuff out of here. You're not 16 anymore. You are a grown man and a grown woman. So act like it. Some of us are just boys and girls and grown men and grown women's bodies. Sorry if I'm hurting your feelings in here, but you gotta grow up, man. We're still arguing like we're in high school. Like, what is this? Over with. We're still complaining on each other on social media. Write a story of some people just don't care about you. Man, who? Why? Why? Just communicate your true frustration. And of course, if it is genuine, if it is honest and communicated the proper way, I give you my word, it'll generate a sense of empathy. I am terrible at communicating my frustration with my wife. So sometimes I'll take a day or two and she'll notice something is up. And I will write it in notes and I'll send her a message. Hey, I didn't know how to express this to you 2 days ago, but A, B, C, D, E, because I know I can communicate well. And then I'll tell her. And when that happens, she will say, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but that's not the case. And then the conversation is open, right? So use whatever means that work for you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Sometimes I would write my frustration in an angry way on my notes, and I'll copy and go to ChatGPT and I'll say, I need you to rewrite this in the most polite way possible because I want to tell my wife. And then I get it nice and organized. And it makes me sound like this nicest kid ever, but I delivered. I did the right thing by not offending her, and I identified a level of awareness. My communication may be terrible. My active listening may be so, but I'm going to talk it out. And instead of offending her by saying you always and you never, I'm going to say how I feel about when we or when we don't. Does that make sense? All right, we're getting into it. We got a little rhythm in here right now. All right, good stuff.
Looking to get your story heard? At the Emmy Studios, we amplify your message with press releases in up to 300 primetime media outlets. Our comprehensive service ensures your content reaches the right audience, driving engagement and results. Elevate your brand with the Emmy Studios press release service. Visit theemmystudios.net today.
So here's what I want you to ask. Write this down. Ask your significant other, and you can do this before you go to bed tonight, or you can do it tomorrow, whenever you feel like it's time is right. How does it feel when I really, really understand you? Meaning, let me know what are the signs from your face or your voice, or what is our secret word that I understood you, that you feel understood, that you feel that a sense of empathy, that man, that's my man. Like, yes, see that now you understand me. Now you're listening to me, right? Now you get me. Men and or women. Our communication levels are different. Our way that we deliver our communication are totally different. So unless you ask, you won't know. So ask, hey, like, I'd like to know, like, how do I know that I'm doing the right thing? How do I know that I'm in the right path? How do I know that I'm saying the right thing? Like, can you communicate it with me? Because sometimes a shrug or a thumbs up is not enough. Or not yelling at me for doing the wrong thing is not enough. Or not yelling at me for doing the right thing, the wrong thing, yeah, the right thing is not enough. We need to know, men and or women. So ask that question. All right. So empathy, connection. All right. So we said empathy, connection. Yes, I write like a doctor. Deal with it. Empathy, connection. That's the next one. All right, let's go to number 6. Ooh, real talk. So number 6 is overcoming the barriers. What are the biggest challenges in communicating with your partner? Like this is a direct question that you have to. Hey, what are the biggest challenges that you feel like you and I have? Like when do we argue? Why do we argue? How do we argue? What is our trigger? What is your trigger? What, like, you gotta do a little bit of not soul searching, but real relationship searching. Have you ever even taken the time? I remember my beautiful bride and I, 2013 to 2000, June 2013 to June 2014 was the worst year of our marriage. We've been, thank God, married since 2007. We've been together since high school, 2003. Yes, it's been that long that we've been together. We have 2 beautiful children. But that one year, that was the first time I experienced and tasted a little bit of success. Like traveling the world and the country and Mr. Madawi and the comma checks every week and all that. Like that was the first time I'm like, whoa, this is happening. And I did not know how to handle it. And I did not know how to handle the world. And thank God, though I've never cheated, I've never slept around or anything, I still did not know and or manage my relationship well. And it was because we never had a real talk. And I'll never forget, this is the backstory of the note to my wife. It was come back on my knees, crying and begging. I will never put my business before you. I would love for you to give me a chance to do it right. And I promise you I'll be the best version of a husband that I can be. That was one of like 17 begging times over and over. And we had this sit down, and it was like, all right, cool. Look, I want you to ask me anything that you want to ask, and I'm going to ask you anything that I want to ask. I mean, the scariest conversation that I've had. Hey, while we were having this rough year, did you go out? Did you do something with somebody else? Did you like? And we talked about anything and everything, and I'm talking about no secrets, no shame in any conversation. How do you like? When do you like? How often? Why? Why not? You name it. We talked about it, and it was the best day of our relationship. Because for the first time, and that was 7 years into our marriage, for the first time, I learned or I understood or I knew who my wife is. For the first time. And that's scary and sad, right? After 7 years. And that's what most people do. We like somebody and we think, okay, this is somebody that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. And then people change, mindset change. Or you did not know that he had bad hygiene because you never lived with the guy. You didn't know how she had bad money habits because you never shared an account with the gal, and so on and so forth. But after that conversation, the very next morning, I just wrote the very first note to my wife. I was so excited, and I was like, note to my, and she was like smiling and smiling like it was the best thing ever. I'm like, that's all it took, and that's how the note to my wife started. So I share this to share with you that you gotta have a real conversation in order to overcome the barriers. You gotta identify those barriers, right? That's a breakthrough for you, Doc, right? So group shares is the solution to go about it. You got to sit down with one another and have this honest conversation. Look, Valentine's Day is in 2 days. Whether you celebrate it or not, it's a great opportunity to sit down, dinner, in-house or on a date, and have these conversations. Look, I want to take our relationship to the next level, and be careful, man. If you're not ready to pop the question, don't use those words. But I would like to know, how can you and I be better? And what is it that I do that makes you happy? What is it that I do that takes you off? What is it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that should definitely make things a little bit better. So, real talk about barriers. Okay, we good? That's another call to action for you. That's for your homework. Making sure that you have a real conversation. All right, good with that? Here we go. Let's go to next. Coming to the bottom here. All right. So here's the next conversation. Do me a favor in that chat. Let me know that you're going to be a grown up because we're about to talk about intimacy. And if you got your children sitting next to you, tell them to go to another room. No, we're not going to use any foul language. I am a respectful man with godly core values, but this is a conversation that is important for you to understand. Because, ladies, if you know what goes in the brain of a man when it comes to intimacy, and gentlemen, if you know what does intimacy mean to a woman, you probably have a little bit of a happier relationship. And I pause before relationship to kind of let you know what I'm talking about. Yes, the intimacy sector, where most men think it's just about physical. Oh, I'm a guy. Let me show you how a big macho man I am. And a woman is like, where are the flowers? Where are the hearts? Where are the birds and the chocolate? Nah, no. You may say, no, I don't mind a little action and fun. I get it. I get it. But just hear me out. You have to understand the difference in the mindset of a man and why we can't help ourselves when we're in a traffic light but to look. I mean, let's call it for what it is. It happens to all of us, no matter how godly we are. Like, God, please, God gives it, God take it. All glory be to God. Please do not let me go. Keep me in here. Why did you create such beautiful human beings on this earth? Goodness gracious, God, I love you. Please, please, please cleanse me. Please forgive me. All right, green light, keep going. So somebody horns in the back, like, yo, come on, let's go. All right. All right, are we grown up? Can we talk about intimacy? All right, let's talk about it. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this one. My read probably a lot more because I did some research in here. So, intimacy. Oh, my goodness. All right, I'm glad you got a little giggle out of that one, Rogers. Here we go. So, intimacy. You ready? While individuals experience different variables when it comes to intimacy, men and women can focus on different aspects of intimacy. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to say, well, of course, Captain, obviously, I already get that. Let me kind of dig in a little bit. So, in men's perspective, men might often focus on physical aspects of intimacy as a way to express love and build connections. Physical closeness can be the primary expression of emotional intimacy for men. We just automatically think, oh, she touched my hand. I'm feeling it. Oh, yeah, this is it. This is the moment. Oh, she played with my hair. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a kiss. Oh, I got the look. I'm going upstairs. I see you in a little bit. Don't take too long in that Zoom. I already know. But here's the thing. That's men. Now, women prioritize emotional connection and communication. By the way, you notice how I said women, not girls. I'm not talking about, like, let me go out and party every single night. I'm not talking about no OnlyFans or none of that stuff. I'm talking about a woman. See, I am blessed enough that I married a woman, not chased girls. Yes, I'm proud to say I am a one-woman man. I've been with my wife since I was 17 years old. We were friends in school, and then we grew up and we became boyfriend, girlfriend, and then engaged and then married. And now we are business partners and all of the above to our children, right? That's me. I'm not saying that you have to do that. Some guys like to chase and say, oh, when I grew up, man, what you mean when you grow up? What are you doing to yourself, right? You're chasing girls. You never hear somebody say, oh, I'm chasing women. No, you're chasing girls. Same thing. There are men who are still spending more time in their cell phones than they are with their significant other. Like, bro, you got to get out of that. Like, there's a book that I would advise for every single man, and that book is called Every Man's Battle. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. It helped me when I was a little bit younger, and it will help you too. Every Man's Battle is the exact issues that guys think that they can fill the gap of intimacy with a cell phone or images or the wrong people out there. So Every Man's Battle, ladies, get that for your man on Audible or a book if they like to read. But get their permission first. You don't want them to think you're judging them. All right, here we go. So we talked about the level of intimacy for women is more about communication, about the idea of closeness, of nurturing, of making me feel safe. A woman values that in intimacy more than she would value just let's get it on and have a physical interaction only, right? Now, it seems pretty self-evident, right? But why is there so much adultery in the world? Why is our world so sexualized? Why is everybody doing all these crazy things, right? Well, I would say, unfortunately, it's a faith issue. Now, I'm not trying to turn this into a sermon, but what I will tell you is uh, I learned from my own flaws, from my own fault. The reason that we are not close to God is because we don't have the proper information, right? Like I don't know how to go to Arizona if I don't have the address, if I don't know that I will need a car that needs gas or electric, that I will need to have enough snacks, that I will need to have enough money to refuel, like that's data that gives me the conviction that I 100% will end up in Phoenix, Arizona, if that's my final destination. So there are many of us, unfortunately, that don't have the proper data that tells us what is the final destination. And therefore, we don't even bother trying to go to that final destination. There's a good book called the Bible. I highly recommend you check it out. Again, that's my personal core values and belief system. And it teaches me every single day, why do I need to operate a certain way? And why do I need to have a level of awareness and no longer do the things that I used to do when I was a young kid? Why not operate in certain areas or with the wrong people or whatever the case may be? So having data will absolutely help you. I call that scripture. So let's talk about a female brain. This is going to be interesting. So women often prioritize emotional connection and communication in intimate relationships. They desire for intimacy might be deeply connected to feeling emotionally safe and understood. Now, there are certain chemicals that are released in a woman's brain that they're called bonding hormones. Now, these play significant roles and they are released during intimate and affectionate actions, reinforcing connections. That's a woman's brain. A man's brain. Man, guys, let's go, me hungry. A man's brain, there are many studies that show that 60% of our thoughts in social environments, when there's other women and whatnot, automatically go to the physical. That's why you can't help yourself, but seeing a woman and you take a peek and then you catch yourself like, God, please help me, right? That's why you could be scrolling and you're like, oh, okay, I saw that, but okay. Like it automatically is part of our gene. It's part of who we are, how we're built as men. Now, that's no excuse. That's just awareness. Like I know what the urge is. I know what the brain operates. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Men may experience intimacy with a stronger emphasis on physical connection. Testosterone can drive a more action oriented approach to meeting intimacy needs. Physical acts of intimacy can often be a primary way for men to feel and express closeness and emotional bonds. Why am I telling you this? Now you know how he runs and operates. Now you know what he feels and he thinks. Now you know maybe I'm not saying that you gotta go for a full intimate night, but all I'm saying is just a little subtle physical connection, a little subtle laying down on his shoulder, or whatever the case may be, could create a sense of fulfillment just because there is the emotional bond, the touch, the feel. And I'm gonna tell you something that you already need to know. If you don't know, here's the thing: the experience of feeling loved. Now, I'm not talking about physical intimacy, but to feel loved is different between men and women. See, a woman, when it comes to feeling loved, is when she's hurt, when she's understood, when she feels nurtured, when she feels catered to, when we speak her love language. You know what is the number one, if you were to put a guess for me in the chat, what is the number one indicator that a man feels loved? Please let me know in the chat. What do you think the number one indicator that a man feels loved by his significant other? Touch, all right, that's a good guess. I'm curious what the fellas are gonna write. Yeah, you already know. You already know. Respect. See, for us guys, I want to be respected. That's the number one number one way that you make me feel loved. If a man does not feel respected, and respect is expressed differently, right? If you're making me feel like what I'm doing is not worth anything extraordinary, if you're making me feel like you're just a waste of a body, not doing anything relevant in this life, if you're making me feel like, oh, you're just fat and this and that, like there's a way of telling me, I love my wife. Ready? Here's how my wife tells me that you are losing yourself and you're gaining weight. Here we go. It'll be awesome if we start working together again. You know what she just said? You're getting fat. Yeah, you're getting fat. That's what she's telling me. But you saw how she flips it? Instead of disrespecting me and saying, hey, you look like a fat slob, she flipped it and she's like, it'd be great if we work out again. See that I feel happy when we work out. It'd be great if we work out again. And I was like, you kidding me? Let's go, baby. You want this meet in the gym? I got you. And I go to the gym with her every day. So it is important for you to understand, ladies, the number one, you want to turn him on and make him happy forever, give him true respect. And again, you don't have to kiss butt. You don't have to, kneel. No, just a little thing. Hey, I just want you to know, like, I really appreciate what you do for the family. And man, that's great. Your work is phenomenal. Wow, I'm very proud of you. You're the man of the family. You're providing. When we feel like we are not providing, by the way, men make most of our mistakes because we just want to be respected. Just so you know, God's honest truth. We would literally have no money in the bank. We would not have our bills paid, but we will still take you out and show you off to our friends just so we can be respected. So everybody's like, man, he's the man. He's taking care of her. Isn't that crazy? So when you make him feel respected, hey, I just want you to know, like, you make me feel perfect. You complete me. You are the man. I'm like, oh, snap. All right, cool. And then you can say, why don't we just stay the night in? We'll make something together and put little candles on the table. That makes a difference for a man. What you said is, I know you're broke, and I don't want you to make it any worse. So why don't we just stay here and we'll do a little pretend that we are on a date inside the house. But the way you said it and the respect that you've given him, well, absolutely. That's like you just gave him organic Viagra, just so you know. Men are so excited and happy when they are respected that they will do anything that you want them to do. You will be like, I control you. I hold you from your neck. That's the secret for you ladies. Respect is everything to a man. It is the number one feeling, emotion that they require in order to smile, in order to feel good. What do you think men would literally go to a seminar and they would wear the suit and get a haircut? They want to be respected. They want to be seen a certain way. Give them that at home. You will fulfill them. We care more about how you see us than what the rest of the world sees us. So give us the fulfillment so we don't have to seek it somewhere else by making the wrong decision, buying things we can't afford to impress people who don't care. All right. My fiance should have been on this call. I get that a lot, my man. I get that a lot. All right. Here we go. Let's go to the next one. So we talked about intimacy. All right, guys, I got you. I know what you're thinking. Look, we cannot skip, like, if we are in a physical capacity, like once a week doesn't hurt, right? Twice, all right, baby. If you do more, man, you got a life of crazy, crazy. God bless you and God be with you. But make sure that you maintain God in everything that you do. Make sure that you're not doing some shenanigans like you are 16-year-old who just went through puberty and saying, I'm trying to discover everything. Like, you are a grown man and a grown woman, right? Like, do it the right way, whatever that may be. Ask a professional. I'm not a professional in that space. But intimacy is big, 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 big for long-term happiness. And might I add, use it or lose it. I'm just telling you, this is what the science shows. The more you are intimate with your significant other, the longer the youth is going to be there, and you will absolutely still feel young for a very, very long time. Well, you don't. You're kind of doing it for yourself. It's not like it's mileage that you are saving for something special. All right, I'm done, I promise. Intimacy. There we go. We talked about it. All right, last but not least, we're coming towards the end. So some takeaways for you. By the way, let me know in the chat, which is your favorite part about everything that we talked about? What was your biggest takeaway for yourself out of everything that we talked about? I'd love nothing more but to hear your takeaways so far. But, I'll ask a few questions and some final homework while you're writing in the chat. What are you willing to start differently today? Like what area that we just talked about that you're willing to do differently today? Is it your communication? Is it your active listening? Is it your true communication of your frustration for true empathy? What is it? Because they say that 50% of in America, 50% of marriages in America end up in a divorce. And they say, oh, it's because of money. No, it's not because of money. You were broke before you got married, and you probably are still going through the same issue because however you operate with $5, you're going to operate with $5 million. It's just the truth. It's the fact that you never took the time to work on these very same fundamentals and elements. And your level of tolerance, remember that tank? You're always running it empty to a point that you exit the car. You walk out of the vehicle. You're like, I'm done. I'd rather go in somebody else's car that can fill up my tank. And then we start crying and regret it. Oh, we divorced. It was great. Life happens. Sometimes you're not with the person you're supposed to be. And here's why. God give it, God take it. Period. Like it's God's will one way or the other. But I'm here to tell you, you gotta work on these elements. Heck, I am not perfect. I'm far from perfection, and I deal with it. I'm divorced, and looking back, I would say, talking it out. Awesome, man. You are on the single and ready to mingle. Good stuff. I'm so happy and proud of you that you're even taking the initiative on being in here and taking these notes because they will make a difference. If you want to find the right person in your life, by the way, be the right person for that person that you're looking for. Like everyone, like, oh, what do you want to find in a man? Money, to just be able to carry himself, to be respectful, to be honest, to be, all right, cool, whatever that checklist is, do you possess those core values? Do you operate on the same fundamentals? Because that man is looking for those very same things. And if you have it, he'll show up. If you don't, you're probably missing him anyways. All right. And that goes for women as well. Here's another question, or not a question, but just a takeaway statement for me. It takes a lifetime. Listen to me carefully. It takes a lifetime and a blank book that never ends to figure out a happy, healthy relationship. A lifetime and a blank book. What does that mean? What is a blank book? There is not a single book. I can teach you all things that I'm teaching you right now. You are writing your book of your relationship, and you have to figure it out on your own. And you have to struggle and fill up your tank again on your own and figure out all the different elements that we talked about on your own. Because I learned this from a long time. It was a Doug Manu's wedding. We were in his wedding, and I'll never forget the pastor said, a secret of a happy relationship is never the love or the intimacy or the birds and the freshness of a marriage, is the ability for one to forgive another. Because sooner or later, whether it is a big mess up or a tiny little one of you is going to get mad at the other. One of you is going to say something mean or raise their voice or react towards the other. So what is your level of forgiveness? Grace. Grace. Grace is undeserved forgiveness. Do you have it within your tank to continually and ongoing give grace to your significant other? Ready? That's why I gave you that hand wink wink. If you have the data, scripture for me, God's word for me, it shows me grace. I feel that I don't deserve the forgiveness for many of the things that I've done wrong in my life. So who am I not to forgive my wife, no matter how big or small the issue can be? And I'm praying to God that she has that same data to show me grace. So, grace. Don't put pressure on yourself to compare your relationship and your circumstance with somebody else. Don't think because, Nina, your first marriage didn't work out, that's it. No. There are two people who are writing that book. And one of you, the tolerance tank was empty. Now, when you know better, you do better. You choose better. You operate better. You communicate better, et cetera, better. Here's my third takeaway for me. Put God first, and the rest will take care of itself. Put God first, and the rest will take care of itself. I cannot stress that enough. I was born and raised in Morocco. And Morocco is predominantly a Muslim country. In 2012, and many years prior to 2012, I went through a spiritual journey trying to find, I know there's a higher power and I'm not connecting with what I learned when I was a kid. And many things didn't make sense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I chose my faith, and I'm very, very proud of that, right? And every time I kind of gear away from my spiritual values, things don't necessarily work out. Now, people would say, well, God is punishing you because you're not doing the right way. No, 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 no. That's not it. You don't have the right data if that's how you're thinking. See, I believe that that spiritual power, God in my case, is a spiritual father. And that spiritual father is like, hey, clean up your room if you want me to give you the tool. You're not cleaning up your room. Clean up your room. Why aren't you cleaning up your room? But no, I want to play. I want to play. But you have to clean up your room. Otherwise, you're going to step on the Legos and you're going to cut yourself. That's because the father wants to protect himself. That paternal behavior is to protecting that child. And every time I'm like, I'm not going to clean up my room, I ended up stepping on the wrong thing and cutting myself. Or I ended up talking to the wrong person who steals from me, or doing business with the wrong company that burns me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every time I say, all right, I just cleaned up my room, I'm given a toy. Every time I say, all right, I ate my food, I get healthier. So I'm just advising you to consider within your belief system, to consider put God first and let the rest take care of itself. Write down the one thing you're going to work on every single day to do your part to have a better side of the relationship. Just one thing. Work on that. And when you figure that one thing out, get another one and another one, and another one. But a level of communication is necessary. I mean, I think I spent a whole lot of time on that. Here's the last one, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but I need you to pay attention. You ready? This is my final thoughts. Here's my last piece. Please, please, you have permission to delete that one person that you shouldn't be connected with on social media. Delete her profile right now. Block her. Block her right now. Why do you have her number still? That one girl that you talked to in the past, or you were dating, or something was going on with, like the one that you give her a like in stories that nobody sees. Just get rid of that. And by the way, I'm getting to you, ladies. Chill out, man. Delete that person or people. You don't understand. See, cheating is not a physical activity. That is the last step of cheating. Cheating is not intentional. See, the enemy whispers, oh, it's okay. It's just a like. Oh, it's okay. It's just a DM saying, looks nice. It's okay. It's just a little fire emoji. It's okay. It's just a share. That's not a big deal. But you and I both know, if it makes you feel some type of way, that if you're doing something sneaky, that it's in the DM, or you're messaging that person, hey, sexy, I just wanted to say happy birthday, while you should not, or you would not say those very same words out of your mouth in front of your significant other, delete that person. Because the enemy is always just waiting for a weak moment to put you in the wrong place. See, you may ask, Ali, why didn't you have a bachelor life? Well, first of all, I scored. The first day I met her, I told my friend she's my wife. Back off. but my whole family, and I'm talking father, mother, every uncle, grandpas, everyone in my family divorced and remarried. Literally. I know all my family members, uncles, and everybody, the prior generation, all cheated, all did that. My genes, we don't do good in relationships. We don't do good going around. If I go to a seminar or a convention when I speak, if you know me well, by 8 o'clock, I'm in my room, FaceTiming my wife. Now, prior to the 2014, I wasn't doing that. I was scared that she's gonna yell at me for still being out with the crew, because I was Mr. Medawi. I had to treat everybody, blowing our check on people who never cared about us. Because I don't do good in environments where there's a lot of temptation. My whole family never did good. So I got to get myself out of that. I realized that when I'm scrolling and there's, wrong booty videos that come out, and leggings and all that kind of stuff. Or sometimes you're targeted. I click not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested, so I can clear my social media. So much so that I removed myself. If you are on my Instagram, I removed myself from my social media platform and I converted it to our studios. And I opened my own personal, and I said, all right, I'm going to just operate in here and I'm going to privatize myself. So I don't see none of that crap, because it bothers me that no matter how hard I try, it's still there. So maybe not right now, because she may be looking at you. When you are in the bathroom and scrolling and going by yourself, delete, block, and you owe no one an explanation. Nobody. Nobody. Because there are people out there who may want what you have, or they may want her, or she may want him. So eliminating and identifying the barriers, eliminating the distractions will allow you, if you truly desire, to have that focused, undivided attention, significant, intimate, happy relationship with him and or with her. That's what I did. I'm not telling you I know everything about relationships. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Look, I want to appreciate you and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I love to do this seminar. Obviously, we are 2 days from Valentine's Day, and I take the time and I just do this and I invite a few people. But I respect and I love you enough that I wanted to include you in my journey. And let's connect at any point after this. Obviously, you've registered. I will not be spamming you with any emails. There is no call to action in here. We will be doing couples retreats sometime in July. For those of you who want to be part of that, I will let you know on a personal phase. It's going to be in Mexico. I'm so excited about that. We're doing a lot here in our studio. We're helping entrepreneurs blow up all over the internet. I am not active in any capacity in any company in the field. And I'm doing that intentionally. I've decided to recreate myself. I've thrown out, and my wife will tell you, please call me out if I'm not telling the truth. I threw out all of my trophies, rings, the certificates from every company that I've ever been part of. Not because, I'll tell you why specifically. I identified is for new things to be born, old things must die. So I had to remove that guy forever and elevate myself to the next level. So I am so grateful that you're allowing me to be part of this journey with you. I am so grateful that I have the opportunity and the privilege to do what I do with you every single day.
Want to take your content from zero to hero? Step into the ME Studios. Located in Eatontown, New Jersey, the ME Studios is your all-in-one content creation destination. From podcast recording and social media content to professional editing and live streaming, we've got you covered. Imagine this. You walk into our state-of-the-art facility, greeted by a team of experts ready to bring your vision to life. Whether you're recording your next podcast episode or filming a high-quality reel, you'll find everything you need under one roof. But don't just take our word for it. Listen to our clients. The ME Studios helped me scale my podcast. Their professional content production elevated my social media presence. Get an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the energy and creativity that make the ME Studios unique. From planning to distribution, we're here every step of the way to ensure your success. Ready for a special offer? Book a marketing campaign with us and you could win an all-inclusive vacation. It's our way of saying thank you for choosing the ME Studios. So what are you waiting for? Visit themestudios.net to book your next content session today.